The most dangerous people in your life are not always obvious. They do not always look threatening. They do not always raise their voice. They do not always act with clear intention. In fact, the most dangerous ones often appear normal. They speak calmly. They behave politely. They fit into your life without resistance. And that is what makes them difficult to recognize. Danger is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is consistent. Sometimes it is the slow influence that shapes your thinking, your decisions, and your direction over time. The people you must be careful with are not necessarily those who oppose you. They are the ones who quietly affect who you become. Because influence is more powerful than conflict. Conflict is visible. You respond to it. You defend yourself. You adjust. Influence is subtle. You absorb it without noticing. And over time, it changes you. The first dangerous type is the person who drains your clarity. This is not someone who openly disagrees with you. It is someone who constantly introduces doubt. Whenever you make progress, they question it. Whenever you feel certain, they complicate it. Whenever you move forward, they slow you down. At first, this can seem like concern. It can appear thoughtful, even helpful. But over time, it creates hesitation. You begin to second-guess yourself. You begin to delay decisions. You begin to rely on their approval before taking action. Clarity turns into confusion, and confusion leads to inaction. This type of person does not need to control you directly. They only need to weaken your confidence. That's enough. The second dangerous type is the person who normalizes negativity. This person does not challenge you. They do something more subtle. They make negative thinking feel reasonable. They focus on what will not work. They highlight risks without balance. They treat failure as something expected rather than something possible. When you spend enough time around this mindset, it becomes familiar, and familiarity becomes acceptance. You begin to adopt the same perspective. You lower your expectations. You avoid effort because the outcome feels predetermined. Nothing changes immediately, but your direction shifts. This is how people lose momentum without realizing it. The third dangerous type is the person who takes without awareness. This is not always intentional. They rely on your time, your energy, your attention. They ask for support. They expect availability. They assume you will adjust your plans to accommodate theirs. At first, this feels manageable. You help. You contribute. You feel useful. Over time, it becomes one-sided. You give more than you receive. You adjust more than they do. You consider their needs more than your own. The problem is not that they ask. The problem is that you slowly become defined by what you provide to them. And when that happens, your own priorities begin to fade. You become occupied but not fulfilled. The fourth dangerous type is the person who avoids responsibility. This person creates problems but does not acknowledge them. When something goes wrong, they shift blame. When there is conflict, they withdraw or deflect. When accountability is required, they become passive. At first, this may not seem serious, but over time, it creates imbalance. You begin to carry more than your share. You compensate for their lack of responsibility. You solve issues they created, and without realizing it, you become responsible for maintaining stability in situations that are not entirely yours to manage. This is exhausting, not immediately, gradually. The fifth dangerous type is the person who limits your growth. This is often someone close to you. They do not oppose you directly. They do not criticize aggressively. They simply remain unchanged. They stay in the same patterns. They resist new ideas. They avoid change. And because you are connected to them, their pace becomes your environment. If you are not careful, you begin to match that pace. Growth requires movement. If your environment is static, your progress slows. Not because you lack ability, because you lack momentum. These 5 types are not always separate individuals. Sometimes one person carries more than one of these patterns. Sometimes you may recognize parts of these behaviors in yourself. This is not about judgment. It is about awareness. In the next part, I will explain how to recognize these people more clearly, how they affect your life over time, and what you can do to protect your direction without creating unnecessary conflict. Understanding these patterns is only the first step. Recognition without action changes nothing. The real challenge is deciding how to respond, because avoiding these people is not always simple. Some of them are close to you, some are part of your daily life. Some are connected to your work, your family, or your history. You cannot always remove them completely, but you can change how much influence they have over you. That is where control begins. The first step is to create distance where necessary. Distance does not always mean physical separation. It means reducing exposure. If someone constantly creates doubt, limit how much you share with them. Not every plan needs to be discussed. Not every idea needs their opinion. Clarity grows in protected space. If someone normalizes negativity, reduce the time you spend in conversations that reinforce that mindset. You do not need to argue. You do not need to convince. You need to protect your perspective. If someone takes more than they give, begin setting boundaries. Boundaries are not aggressive, they are corrective. You do not need to explain everything. You do not need to justify your decisions in detail. A simple, "I am not available," is enough. Consistency is what makes a boundary effective. The first time you set it, there may be resistance. That resistance is not a sign that you are wrong. It is a sign that the pattern is being challenged. If you return to your old behavior, the pattern continues. If you remain consistent, the pattern adjusts. The second step is to stop trying to change people who do not want to change. This is one of the most common mistakes. You see potential. You see what someone could become. You invest time, energy, and effort into helping them improve. But change requires willingness. Without willingness, your effort becomes frustration. You cannot force awareness. You cannot create motivation for someone else. You can only decide how you respond to their behavior. Accepting this saves energy. It allows you to focus on what is within your control. The third step is strengthening your internal clarity. The more certain you are about your direction, the less external influence affects you. This does not mean becoming rigid. It means becoming grounded. You know what matters to you. You know what you are working toward. You know what you will accept and what you will not. When this clarity exists, other people's opinions carry less weight. Not because you ignore them, but because you evaluate them instead of absorbing them. Evaluation protects your direction. The fourth step is choosing your environment carefully. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your intentions do. If you spend most of your time around people who resist growth, your progress slows. If you spend time around people who think clearly, act responsibly, and move forward, your perspective expands. You do not need a large group. You need the right influence. Even 1 or 2 people who encourage clarity, accountability, and growth can change your trajectory. The fifth step is observing patterns instead of reacting to moments. Dangerous people are not defined by one action. They are defined by consistent behavior. One negative comment does not define someone. Repeated negativity does. One instance of avoidance does not define someone. Consistent avoidance does. When you focus on patterns, you see the truth more clearly. And when you see clearly, you make better decisions. The final step is protecting your time and energy. Time and energy are limited. Every interaction has a cost. If you spend too much of your time managing unnecessary conflict, correcting avoidable problems, or recovering from negative influence, you have less capacity for meaningful work. Protection is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot build something stable while constantly responding to instability around you. You must decide where your attention goes, because attention determines direction. There is another important truth. These patterns are not always external. At times, you may recognize elements of these behaviors in yourself. Moments of doubt, moments of negativity, moments of avoidance. Awareness allows correction. If you see these patterns in yourself, you have the opportunity to change them. That is where real control exists. This is not about eliminating people from your life. It is about understanding influence. Who affects your thinking? Who shapes your decisions? Who alters your direction? Once you understand that, you can choose more carefully, not with emotion, with clarity. The most dangerous people are not the loudest or the most obvious. They are the ones whose influence goes unnoticed until it has already shaped your path. If you remain aware, that influence becomes visible, and once it is visible, it becomes manageable. That is how you protect your direction, not by reacting to every situation, by choosing where your attention goes and who you allow to shape it.